Alabama and Purdue take the court. Purdue started the season as the number 1 team in the country, and depending on which poll you look at, they're still the number 1 team in the country as well. It's them, and it's Houston 1-2 in both the AP and the coaches poll. This is a really interesting matchup, I think, for Alabama because they have a really tough schedule, but also you get this game at home in Coleman Coliseum, which I think is an extra boost for them. I know they've played some neutral site games, but I like this game on a home court. Right before you get to the real teeth of the non-conference play.
We talked last week leading into the St. John's game about, hey, and I think we talked about this with Scott Griffin. You have this 4-game stretch here where you're playing nothing but top 25 teams.
Right.
I think they went into Madison Square Garden and beat St. John's, and I thought that was one of the most impressive wins I'd seen in a long time. You host Purdue tonight, but, I mean, Purdue played Oakland pretty close, so I think that's what dropped them out of the number 1 spot.
Right.
But then you face the number 1 team in Houston coming up, and then also you take on Gonzaga to round out your little 4-game stretch there of just playing nothing but top 25 teams. I think this is the highest ranked game in Coleman ever.
Yes, highest ever.
Yes, highest ever, which is obviously a major.
Yes.
It just goes to show what Nate Oates has been able to do at the helm of this program since coming over from Buffalo. But there's been one guy that's been leading the charge right now, and it's LeBaron Filan.
Yep.
I mean, he's just been an absolute dog for them so far.
Absolutely. He's from the Mobile, Alabama area right here where we are broadcasting this program. Went to Baker High School, then went for a little while to Missouri to an academy there. Signed with Kansas initially, but then ended up coming to Alabama. And then I think one of the biggest things that he did was he put his name into the NBA draft and essentially said that he was going to stay, but then ended up pulling his name out of the draft. And I think with that, Nate Oates was able to challenge him, say, hey, if you want to get to the next level and be a contributor at the next level and not just, be at the end of the bench and be guy number 13, 14, 15, then you need to work on these parts of your game. Some of it on the field, on the court, some of it off the court from a leadership standpoint. And I think he's had to have loved everything that he's seen so far from LeBaron Filan, and it's looking like his play right now through a couple of games is matching the hype that he got at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I mean, I think some people, when they see, this guy entered his name into the NBA draft, they think, well, thank you for your service, and then just goodbye. That's not always the case.
Right.
A lot of these guys, especially the young guys, I know Tahad Pettiford just did this this past offseason as well.
Right.
These guys enter their name into the draft. They do the workouts. They see what they need to work on.
Yes.
And then they almost always come back because as long as you don't sign with an agent, you're good.
Yeah.
You can come back. So these guys, they do workouts. They talk to these scouts. Hey, this is what you need to work on. This is what you need to work on. And then they go back. They work on those things. And clearly, whatever the scouts told LeBaron to work on, it's been working so far. I know the first game wasn't really against anybody, but for him to come out and be able to, I believe he dropped, 25 on a great St. John's team that just had, they were the number 2 seed in the tournament last year.
Yep.
I mean, just shocking.
Yeah, and if you go back and watch those highlights, because I can give you the 3-point numbers. The 3-point numbers aren't the thing. It's where he was shooting those threes from. You could tell that he came in. He was thinking of this game. This is a professional basketball game because he knows St. John's was going to be one of those teams that they'll have a lot of guys that are going into the NBA. He wanted to go to the NBA. He was chucking them from deep. So he had a career high 22 in the season opener, added that to a new career high at 25. So there you see his averages through the first 2 games of the season. They're already 1-0 at home. 5 assists, 3 rebounds per game, gets to the free throw line there as well. But this is an Alabama team that Nate Oates really does a lot with like the analytics, and he wants his team to space and to look like an NBA team. And I think that he's brought a different mentality, and because of that, he trusts his team to be able to handle a really hard non-conference slate, and that's the reason why he scheduled the way he did.
Right, and I think coming into the season, everyone was like, all right, Alabama just lost a lot of players, and they lost a lot of offensive production from the year before.
Right.
How are they going to be able to come back and just, be able to run it back? And honestly, you could make the argument they look even better this year. It's been 2 games.
No doubt.
It's been 2 games, but that game against St. John's really showed me something. Now they have to work on the defense a little bit because, I mean, you want to talk about a barn burner.
Yeah.
that was a barn burner up in MSG, but eclipsing triple digits, that's not easy.
No.
I mean, honestly, that's not easy even against Cupcakes.
Right.
It's hard to do.
Yes.
And especially where they were at, Madison Square Garden, against a Rick Pitino coach team, arguably one of the greatest college basketball coaches of all time.
Yeah.
I mean, it just shows you. I don't think they're going to be scared.
No,
of this game.
absolutely not.
And
absolutely not.
From what I remember, these Bama Purdue games are track meets.
Yes. I mean, it is up and down the court, and we got a chance to hear from Bama's head coach Nate Oates on hosting this Purdue Boilermaker team.
Monday was pretty good. I honestly, I didn't think Tuesday was very good. Like we've got to now. Part of it is we got some guys banged up, and we're trying to make sure that they're not getting any more banged up, and be as healthy as we can for the games. But because you shorten practice and go lighter doesn't mean it's a off day or a lighter mentally day. So just because we're taking it lighter physically on them doesn't mean. So we've got to get better in that. We got to get better leadership. But I thought today they bounced back and they had a really good practice, super locked in. Everybody's on point, know what we want to do in the scouting report. Now, knowing what we want to do and actually be able to execute it against one of the best teams in the country, and they are the best execution team. I mean, they've got gazillion sets and 6 different counters to everything they do. So, there's no way you can have every play that they run down. That it's impossible. But I think our guys were locked into the concepts that we've got to have done, and I thought they were really good today. We just, moving forward, we got to have 3 great days going into these really big games.
This line opened up Alabama 1.5 point favorite. It is now at 3, so there's money coming in on Alabama. However, there's somebody who's a big factor for Purdue and Braden Smith, the National Player of the Year candidate. Yeah. This is a really interesting matchup here, and I think we talked about LeBaron Philon. This is a real chance for Smith to kind of put his name, he's obviously in the limelight, but to put his name in the upper echelon in the early stages of his college basketball season. Yeah,
I mean, when you look at the Purdue team a couple of years ago after the national championship that they lost to UConn, it was like, okay, how are we going to replace Zach Edey, easily one of the best basketball players or one of the best college basketball players. And then you've got Braden Smith that came in last year. Yeah, Purdue didn't have as great of a year last year as they did before, but I mean, it's hard when you don't have a 7-foot guy in the paint anymore that you could just give the ball to a billion times a game and he'll just get you free buckets. Now, you look at it on I think I said this yesterday. What gets you wins in March Madness? Great coaching. Matt Painter's a great coach.
That's right. Yep.
And then great guard play.
Yep.
And Braden Smith you could make the case for him being one of the greatest guards in the game right now.
Yeah, exactly. And he's kind of an extension of Coach Painter on the floor, and they'll need that tonight. They'll need LeBaron Philon tonight. Really interesting matchup, really cool matchup here midweek, right before we get a bunch of good football games at the end of the week. So Alabama and Purdue squaring off there in Coleman Coliseum.